I'm not sure I've allowed myself enough time. I have COPD. I need to be a little careful of how much breath I use. I had a second phone call from my father on the 16th of February, 1994, not later than 7:10 a.m. I know that because I caught my bus every morning at 7:30, and I had had at least 10 minutes to get to it. I wouldn't have left my flat later than 7:20, and our conversation lasted a good 10 minutes, so it wasn't later than 7:10, and probably earlier. It's almost exactly the same words as he used for my mother, except he didn't say, "She's dead." He said, "Fiona is dead." He was ringing from a number I didn't recognise. I didn't know it was him phoning at first. It wasn't his landline. I said, "How can she be dead?" "She's 27 years old. How can she be dead?" He said, "I think she died of a drug overdose." I said, "Who told you? How do you know?" He said, "Her mother phoned me, and she said, 'Dick, something terrible has happened.'" I carried on with my day. I'm sorry to say I was shocked. Didn't really know what else to do. I assumed he would spend the day comforting the bereaved mother. So I got to her house, her flat, at about 5 p.m. And as I walked through her door, I told her how sorry I was to hear about Fiona. And I also asked where my father was. "Where's Dad?" She said, "Why would your dad be here? And how do you know about Fiona?" I said, "Well, he phoned me. He phoned me this morning. Early this morning he phoned me, and he told me she was dead." I probably didn't say it in quite that tone, but that's what I said. And she said, He couldn't have. He couldn't have phoned you, because the police didn't phone me until about 2 hours ago." So, at a rough estimate, the police phoned her 8 hours after my father phoned me. Well, Evelyn and I exchanged glances. We looked at each other. We were both absolutely stunned. Didn't know what to make of it, really. And she said there must have been a mistake about time. And I kind of acquiesced to that. I knew what time the phone call had been, but I didn't know much else. And of course, as the days went by, more details came out. And the police were very much pushing the angle that Fiona had died of a drugs overdose, which was very strange. Because I attended the inquest on Ellen's behalf. She didn't want to go, and I did. I wanted to know what had actually happened. Well, the most salient point of the inquest, apart from the fact that Fiona's entire body was full of fluid, water, lungs 3 times the normal weight, abdomen distended, bowel distended, contents of stomach in trachea, which is her windpipe, not her esophagus, her windpipe leading to the lungs. Those were the findings. No drugs, no alcohol. The pathologist is very definite about that. He said absolutely no alcohol or drugs. Didn't have a clue what had killed her, in fact. He called it a perplexing case. But the most salient point for me, apart from that, was that the paramedics had pronounced her dead at 9:15 a.m., which was possibly more than 2 hours, but at least 2 hours after my father's phone call to me. So at that point, I knew that my father had had some involvement in her death. How else would he possibly have known that my stepsister was dead 2 hours before paramedics pronounced her dead, and probably about 2 hours really before they were even called, because the hospital was 103 feet from where she died. And I'm ending there as well.